So we'll try that. See how she goes. All right, I'm going to start. I mean, if other people come, we'll get in there. Let me see who is not here. See if I believe they're going to come. Ryan, okay, cool. All right, so let's get cranking. I'll have to keep an eye on the admin room. At some point, I'll just open it up. There was they've changed the rules on Zoom in the last 3 months based on the people getting bombed in the background. It's pretty, some just random people coming in and, hitting them with something. So anyway, welcome. So we're here today to do some 90-day planning. And so, I'm Bill. I think I've either met you or talked to you on the phone or something. It's one of the cool things about Zoom is we can all kind of be together and not be together. Like I said, unless you're in a loud place, you're free to leave your microphone on. There will be a couple of times where I'll divide you into a couple of rooms, which is like be more like a table. Like if you run a table, we'll have some discussions that I'll put you guys together to have those discussions. I think that's useful. That's about it. The goal for today, what I'd like for you to come out of this is with we'll talk about what your goals are in a minute, but my goal for you is to have a little bit more clarity about what your plan is and what you want to get done for the next 90 days. So my take on planning is that the plan is important, but the planning is more important. The planning process, actually taking time out of your business to plan. So the first thing I want to do is congratulate all on you for making a decision to actually be here, to actually stop long enough and to decide that, hey, maybe I need to back up a minute and get a bit of a plan together before we attack the rest of the thing. So you guys can all look me up. I don't need to tell you a lot about me. It's not about me today anyway. I've either talked to all of you or met with all of you somehow, some way at some point. So I know a little bit about your business, and we're going to learn a little bit more here. But just as a background, it's kind of an overview. I started looking at success and what it takes people to be successful a few years ago, and I had to come up with what do you call it? An acronym, and it's EPIC. It's not, so, and what I decided was that, you could pretty much put things in buckets. The first thing I came up with didn't spell anything, so I had to change it to figure out what it was. But I came up with EPIC, and I actually wrote. That's actually what this book is about. Is the coach approach that I wrote. But EPIC stands for, the E is education. So partly we'll be doing some education today, okay? And we'll talk about. John Maxwell says if you're here, your business can only go here. It's called the law of the lid. So in order for your business to get better, you have to get better, right? And I want you guys to feel free to participate, to call out, to give me a thumbs up, whatever. We've got a small enough group here. I think I can keep an eye on things. The P stands for planning, which we're obviously going to do a little bit today. I stands for inspiration. I think we have to be inspired. I think we have to be inspiring. In order for business to happen, somebody has to be inspired enough to buy whatever it is that we are selling, if that makes sense. So we have to be inspiring. We also have to inspire our teams. We have to inspire our vendors. We have to get a whole bunch of people on the team. And then the C stands for commitment. So none of this planning matters. None of this inspiration matters. None of this education matters unless we apply it. Okay? And so one of the things you'll hear me say over and over and over again today is, what are you actually going to do? What are you going to apply? What are the strategies that you can commit to doing in the next 90 days? Now, we'll look at a whole bunch of strategies. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of strategies that you can use over the next years. But, what we want to focus on is what we can do in the next 90 days. What can we actually take action on? So one of my goals for you today is to be looking for that one thing that you can implement by Tuesday. I say 48 business hours. So what's the one thing in this thing that you can start working on by Tuesday? Okay, does that make sense? Is that good with everybody? All right, I see some head nodding. You guys are gonna, I know it's early in the morning. If you don't have your coffee, get some. If you're a coffee drinker, get some coffee. If you're not a coffee drinker, get something. Get whatever gets you fired up and get ready to go, because we're gonna get in there. So what I want to do first is make sure that we know each other, because we're going to be working together for the next few hours. So if you can, I'll call on you, and if you can just say who you are, sort of where you are, what's your business, and then what's your biggest challenge right now. And I might make some notes on those just so I can have them, just so we can kind of come back, because we'll cover some of those challenges, if that makes sense. Okay, so Beth, we'll start with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of my biggest challenges is managing my team that's working part-time remotely. We're an accounting. Yeah, I'm Beth Evans. I'm with Precision Accounting Services. We have been essential, so we've never shut down, though my employees think otherwise. Again, one of my biggest challenges is how to manage my folks working remote.
So is it the fact that you're worried about them like actually getting the work done, or they've been less productive or more productive, or what?
It's been a lot, less productive working from home.
Okay, so it seems like it's
less
productive.
The other issue is if they're working from home and then I'm reviewing their work and there's an issue, typically I'd say, come on in, let's go over this and try to educate. You can't do that with them working from home. And even if we do the Zoom, they don't get it because it's harder to show your work product. Because, unfortunately, me and my partner know what we're doing, but you're constantly bringing in new folks, and not necessarily new folks, but not on our level. Accounting is something that you can't just go to school and know it all. It's something that you learn as you do. And we have a couple of young people that we really have to sort of take and say, okay, great, you learned this book learning, but now that we're applying it, it's different. And I can't do that with them working remote.
I've proved that thing several times about going to school and accounting and not knowing it all. Yeah, sure. George.
Hey, George Wagner, Computer Support and Consulting. Well, my biggest challenge is really, I'm a one-man operation, so it's just a question of logistical planning, getting my time organized.
Logistics and time. Okay, perfect. All right, Josh.
I'm out of Asheville. I run a remodeling company. We're probably just a two-man show. I work more in the field than I do in my business, and that's probably hurt me the most. I have some really, really good contractor buddies that try to do the same thing that you do, and help advise as issues arise. So that's probably one of my biggest issues is I don't spend enough time in the business making the business work.
So we'll call that working on.
Mm-hmm.
So working on the business is a challenge because you just assume it's easier to be in the field.
Well, being a two-man show, there's one other guy underneath me and it's my name on the work. So
got it.
It needs to be done correctly and to my standards, so that we have happy clients.
Yes.
Perfect. Destiny.
Good morning. My name is Destiny Blau. I am a photographer and filmmaker in Asheville. And I think my biggest challenge right now is I'm kind of jumping ship to a different genre. I've been shooting a lot of births and families and wanting to do more wedding work and commercial work. So figuring out who and how to market that, because my marketing's literally been done by other people, like to build to the point that I'm at right now.
Yeah. So new marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. So Ryan.
Yeah, so I'm Ryan Blau. I have a company called Vision Design Collaborative. We're landscape architects, land planners, and we've had our company for about 12 years now. I worked with a national practice design firm before that for 7 years. We're just a two-man. It's myself. I have a business partner, so we're owner-employees. And so I think one of the challenges that I have is doing all of the business side of things and also doing all of the work side of things. And so it's sometimes difficult to get into the planning and figuring out the kind of big picture goals while trying to manage all of the workload that we have to do and all of the deadlines that we have to try to meet.
Got it. So it's a little bit the same thing, how to work on the business and still get the work done.
Yeah.
Perfect. Ron.
Yes, we are a chemical manufacturer located in Charleston, South Carolina. Our biggest problem is unprecedented growth. Most of our products are eco-friendly based on hydrogen peroxide. We do sanitizers, concrete and roof cleaners, and we introduced a product in January. It's a concrete and roof cleaner that eliminates pressure washing. It's eco-friendly. It's based on 7.5% hydrogen peroxide. Our revenues are up 300% so far this year, and we've outgrown our building. We need a high-speed automated filling line, so we've got to start planning and bringing all that stuff together so that we can service our customers. We are a new Ace Hardware national vendor, and so our revenues are going to continue growing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, congratulations on the growth. This is sort of the problems we want to have sometimes. There are challenges with massive growth for sure. So getting a handle on it's a bit like riding a wild bull or something. Trying to stay on the bull. Laura.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Laura McCann, and I'm in Asheville, and I have a company called Adora Therapy, and we're also a manufacturer. We make essential oil perfume, and we've kind of pivoted 3 times. We were wholesale doing what Ron was doing, selling all the big accounts, and then we decided to move more towards a direct-to-consumer model a little bit before coronavirus, and then now we're opening up our first retail store at the Grove Arcade sometime this fall. And for me, the biggest challenge has been access to capital.
Yep. Okay. So we've got some, usually I do this so that everybody sees that everybody's got similar problems. And I think that if you're in business long enough, you're going to have all these challenges at one time or another. So I think we're going to move more into a remote economy. So that's not going away. Time and logistics, juggling, working on and in. I don't care how big you are. I bet a bunch of you that are, got a bunch of employees are still spending a lot of time working in your business, and then handling massive growth, and of course getting resources to grow your business. So we'll come back to that, see how we do on that, but just keep those in mind for Matt. So what I want you to do now is get a piece of paper or open the workbook and just use the page 2 or whatever. One of the pages that's got a just blank, it just says notes on it or whatever, and write down, like, what do you want out of today? What are you wanting out of today for the next few hours? What are your goals? Just take a minute and then we'll share those. see if I can find some music or something. See if I can get some music here. Once again, I think I'll write these up. All right, about 30 more seconds. And let's wrap it up. Okay, Laura, what do you need? What do you want from today? Oh, wait, hang on. We'll come back to you. Just ate something. Yeah. Yeah. Destiny, what do you want from today?
Just maybe set some bite-sized, manageable goals to like actually move forward instead of just thinking about what I want to do, actually implementing that.
So, actionable goals. Okay. All right, good. Ryan.
I'd like to get some input and some direction on prioritizing, how to prioritize my time and my efforts so that I can be more productive and efficient.
Yep. Good. Okay, Laura, we'll come back to you now.
All right. Get clear on any limiting beliefs that I have, contribute value to the group, and feel comfortable with the direction I'm going in and the timelines that I set up.
All right, so contribute. And get comfortable with plan. Okay, good. Josh.
How to manage my time better, to be able to put it into the business and not in the field. The business is not going to grow by itself.
That's right. It won't. Yep, George. You're muted. Yeah.
I had to sneeze earlier.
That's right.
Resources to help get information and basically access to funding or contacts that would help grow the business.
Contacts, funding. Okay, good. 6. Okay, who haven't we got? Beth.
I guess ideas on how to better manage my team remotely. If anybody's got ideas or have been through this, what are things that you guys have implemented?
Yep, we'll do it. Ron.
Logical growth plans.
Logical. Okay, perfect. All right, we'll also come back to that and see how we did. With that. So with that said, this is a little bit of a 2-part process, y'all. So today we're going to get a lot of the what I'd call the general stuff. We're gonna look at a whole lot of possible things you could do, and then we're gonna narrow it down to a few things that you can do. To Destiny's point, and but 4 hours can only get us so far. Okay, it's kind of like epoxy glue, right? Who knows what epoxy glue is? Everybody know what that is? Okay, there's two parts to epoxy glue, right? What happens if you just use one of the parts?
Nothing.
Not much.
Yeah, it doesn't stick, right? But you put it together and it forms a chemical reaction and it really creates something that's different. Okay, so today we're going to get over a bunch of what I call the general principles, a bunch of the strategies. We're going to all get them in place, but then, and I'll tell you how to do this later. We'll set up a time where I can sit down with you, or we can have a phone call and sort of firm up your plan, just get it tightened up and make sure that it's actually something that can work for you. Because like I said, I don't really want you to if you just come to this and come out with a plan and all you end up with is this thing that sits on your on your desk or on your shelf or in a book somewhere, that's no good. We've got to implement it. So we want to tighten it up, get it in place and make sure. So I'll talk a little bit more about how to do that, but there will be a sort of a follow-up session that we'll have with each of you to make sure that you get value from your plan. Is that cool? All right. Couple of, I'm going to jump into some generalized principles. Let me just tell you my rules of the game. My rules of the game are be comfortable. Okay. If you need to get up, get up. If you need to get something to drink, go get something to drink. If you need food, get up. I will have a couple of breaks in here where we'll have stuff. I always say leave your cell phone on. You're going to anyway. Okay. If you want to let the world know that you're here and they're not, I think that would be useful. Okay. So if it would help you on social media for people to understand that you're taking time out to work on your business, post it, or at least take a picture of the screen and post it later. I don't care what you're doing. I just want you to be comfortable, because I know if you're uncomfortable, you can't learn. Right? Yeah, get a comfortable chair. Get whatever works for you. Stand up if you need to. Say, hey, Bill, hang on. Can we take a break? Whatever we need to make this work for us. Like I said, I want this to be more like we're in the room together as opposed to us being, in 6 or 7 different places. Is that cool? Is everybody good with that? All right, good. All right, so I'm going to go over a couple of generalized principles. Some of you have seen this. Some of you have never seen this. But these are kind of what I call rules of the game or generalized principles for business and life. How many of you know somebody who it's never their fault? Yeah, you guys can talk, by the way. This is okay. If you're going to mute your thing, the space bar will unmute you, or you can just click on it. Either way, okay? It's set up that way. But I would prefer that you just leave it unmuted unless you got some kind of a really loud noise in the background. It's going to be that way. You can just participate like we're sitting in the same room together. Okay. How many of you know somebody it's never their fault? Yeah. Everybody knows somebody, right? So they do what? I've got it written up here. Can all y'all see this?
Yeah.
Can you read it? It's my handwriting's, it's not, got a C, and when they used to write handwriting back in the day. So they blame, right? Okay. And usually they have a statement like, I would have gotten it done, or
Client didn't get me their work.
That's right.
Their bank statement
which is an
excuse.
An excuse, right. Okay. And then the worst is we deny or have a denial that they're even having a problem. Now it's a bit of a hierarchy. Actually, most problems start out, we just deny we have it. Well, it's not a problem. Then it becomes, it's a problem, and then we blame something else. Guaranteed, most of you have already gone through at least one of these today, somewhere in something you did before you came here. Okay. There's always a way. We do this as humans. We just go below this. We call this the point. It's called the point of power. And this is below the point of power. Okay. Blame, excuse, deny. So what happens below the point of power?
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Pretty much. Nothing positive happens down there. Do any of y'all have any relatives or someone that you know who lives their whole life here? They love being that, it's always something else's fault or somebody else's fault. What's the big excuse that everybody's using right now?
Coronavirus.
Coronavirus. That's exactly right. Okay. Now, some businesses have really benefited. Ron's done, come up with some great stuff. It's been hydrogen peroxide kills. Look, I used to be in a business where we used hydrogen peroxide and ozone and whatnot to kill salmonella, some things like that. And so I know what that stuff can do. All right. So his business is taking off. Some of y'all's business is busier than ever. Some of your businesses have been negatively affected. Most of us have been affected somehow, but we've either had to pivot or move in a different direction or whatever it took to get there. So we could sit around and blame excuse, or we could go above the point. All right. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Now, so above the point, I'll just get you to call them out with me because you can read them. We have, get ready, ownership, accountability, responsibility. Right? Okay, good. All right. So I was actually trained as an engineer. And so I like numbers and I like statistics and I like those things, but I've come to understand the power of the words. How many people know that words are powerful? How many, who's ever been hurt by a word or by a phrase or by a thing? All of us, right? Who's ever been built up? Who's ever felt better just because they heard somebody talk or a speech or somebody you met? That really inspired me, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we know that words are powerful. So we have to look at words and the way we use languaging in our businesses and in our lives and see what it's getting us. Okay. Because if you're not getting what you want, a lot of times we're creating it ourselves. All right. Okay. So, and I probably should ask you, is it okay if I coach y'all for the next 4 hours or so, 3.5? Is that okay with everybody? Because I need permission to do that because I'm here to get you value. Okay. And the only way I know how to do that is to coach you a little bit. Okay. Or a lot, let's just say. All right. So let's look at the word ownership. If you break it down into syllables, what do you have?
3 of them.
Yeah, 3 syllables. And what are they?
Own.
Ownership. So if you kind of eliminate the ER, it stands for own ship.
Yeah.
Okay. It's where it comes from. All right. It's your own ship. Your life is your own ship. You have choices in your life. Okay. Okay. Now, I happen to believe in, I'm a faith-based person. I happen to believe in a higher power, but that gives me things. But I believe that we're given choices. Okay. And we get to make some choices in our lives that it's our own ship. We can choose to go left. We can choose to go right. We can choose to move it to a different body of water. We can buy a motor. We can get a bigger sail. Okay. We can get a different boat. All right. We can change boats. I mean, Destiny's looking at a different market. That's a bit of a different boat. Does that make sense? Okay. So it's our own ship. Okay. Our businesses are they're like a blank sheet of paper in a lot of ways for you artists out there. You can make it into whatever you want to make it into. All right. All right. So we have ownership. We have accountability, which if you look at the syllables in accountability, we have ability to account, which means what? Or to whom? To whom should we account?
Customers.
Customers. Who else?
Sales.
Sales. Who else?
Ourselves.
Self. Who else?
Employees.
Employees. Who else?
Spouse.
Spouse. Yeah.
Family.
Everybody got family? Some sort of family.
Yeah.
Maybe have to be accountable to. Some people do. Some maybe not. Yeah. So we have the ability to account. Okay. A lot of what I get paid for is accountability. The truth is, most of you know what to do in your businesses. You just need somebody else along beside you as a bit of a guide, okay, and to help you keep you accountable to do the things you already know you need to do. Does that make sense? I mean, we've got knowledge too, but I've learned that it's not about that. There's more brain power right here in this call, on this Zoom call right now. They can help each other. It's crazy how we can do it. I had a call yesterday with just 4 people on the call, came up with probably 15 different ideas to help every business in that call. Okay. And I did very little of it. Just you guys already know what to do. Responsibility. We're able to respond. Are there things outside of our control? Do we have any control over what's going on around COVID? Coronavirus? Nope. All we have is the ability to respond. What's your response? You can sit on your hands, you can cry, you can say, oh, the government needs to help me, or you can say, what am I going to do with my business and the people I know? How can I be resourceful enough to take responsibility? All right. So what is another word that we often hear for excuses?
I can't.
I can't. Yep, we hear that sometimes. What else?
Time.
Time. Yeah, it's an excuse we use all the time. I don't have time. By the way, do we all have the same amount of time in a day?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. So it's not really time. It's really self.
Priority.
It's really self-management. So I want to flip your brain right now on the time thing to say, hey, it's about me and about how I want to run my business. I mean, one of the realizations for me was, how much time I used to spend in the car, driving to various things. I don't have to do it anymore because, people are more comfortable with Zoom than ever. We've moved ahead in technology about 6 or 7 years, y'all, in this last 6 or 7 months, would be my estimate. Okay. This is awesome. All right. The one I hear is reasons. If any of your employees, if anybody's coming to you, if anybody out there says the reason is, you're likely to get an excuse. We want to call people on this stuff. Like I had this thing when the boys I have 2 boys, they're more or less grown now, as grown as boys can be. I had this on the refrigerator, and I taught them this early days, and they hated it. I mean, the kids hated it. I mean, they would come in and say something, I can't get this done. I'm like, oh, isn't that below the point? And they would, and they would always say, Dad, stop with the coaching, because it was pretty funny. They'd just get madder. It was hilarious. If you can't, I'll just laugh at my kids all the time. I just thought they were so funny. Anyway, okay. Reasons down here, results up here. Okay. Down here, we got the victim mentality. Up here, we got the victor mentality. Is it all right with y'all for the next little while, at least a little while, we keep it up here? Yeah. Okay.
That's where we want to be anyway.
Is that not okay with anybody? All right, good. Okay, look, it's okay if we do it. We just need to call it out to each other. If you hear me blaming something else, making a reason, making an excuse, denying that there's something going on, even on this call, I want you to call me on it, but I also reserve the right to call you on it. All right?
Yeah.
Now, think about how you can, one of my clients has this chart. It's nicer. It's a flip chart, that he had made on PowerPoint, which I can give you if you want. I've got the PowerPoints. I just prefer the flip charts because I think they're deeper. Anyway, and plus we can all look at each other. It's more like being in an actual room. So he had it in his break room for all his employees. They went over it. They talked about it in sales meetings or in company meetings. Sometimes they talk about they do stuff like, hey, when is the time you saw someone taking ownership? Call them out on it. And they would observe. They'd start looking for it in other people. So a lot of ways to use this chart. Cool. All right, finish this sentence for me. The only failure is the failure to plan. Good. There's no right or wrong in any of my stuff. I've just learned that a lot of times in most things except moral issues, there's no right or wrong. There's just one way and another way and a whole bunch of ways in between. Okay, so there's a bunch of ways to get to the same solution. Like if I said we had to drive a car, we're going to leave and go to Charlotte. There's a bunch of ways you could get there from wherever you are, right? You can choose to go a different way. You could even rent a helicopter. You hadn't thought about that one, have you? So there's a lot of ways to get to Charlotte. Okay, so we just need to use. There's just different ways. None of them are right or wrong. They just are. So good. Only failure is a failure to learn. Good. What else?
Begin.
Start. Yep. What else?
Own up.
Own up. Yep. Take ownership. Perfect. What else?
Start somewhere.
Start. Yep. Just get started. Take action. Cool. Those are all right. It's all right. One of the things we say, it's just one of them, is the only failure is the failure to participate. We give 100%, we get 100%. What I mean by that, and y'all all know what I mean. If you've ever been to, have you ever been to a concert or a sporting event or something where the person performing or the team performing had an individual who was, their mind was somewhere else? Okay, were they 100% participating in that event? I mean, they might have been so good at it that it didn't matter, but you knew that they weren't 100%. And in sports, a lot of times they lose because they're not playing full out. Sometimes you lose when you do play full out, but you're more likely to win. All right. So I'm going 100% here for the next few hours. I just need you to be 100% in too. Is that cool? Is everybody okay with that? All right, perfect. All right. So, I mean, the one I use about this is driving. Like, same example. Let's say you wanted to drive to Charlotte. Okay. Most of you could drive to Charlotte and you could do other things while you were driving. Okay, because you're what we call unconscious competent as a driver on I-40 or 26 or however you're going to go. Okay, right? On a highway, you know, you can set your GPS and you can listen to a podcast. You can get on the phone. You can listen to music. You can do other things with other parts of your brain than to participate 100% fully in that driving experience. Now, if you were going to Charlotte to do the Richard Petty driving experience where you were going to drive around the Charlotte Speedway at 180 miles an hour, my guess is when you were in that car going 180 an hour, that would have your attention. You would be 100% participating in that experience. You see the difference? Okay. All right. So I'm going to go hard. You guys go hard. Do the work. If you don't have something to write on, get something to write on. Print out the thing because we're gonna do some good work here. A few more rules of the game. Anybody got any teenagers?
You.
Most. They're pretty smart, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
They know everything.
Yep. Their statement is usually, "I know." All right, what happens when everybody been a teenager? Yeah, okay. All right. Good. Yeah, because we were pretty smart then too, right? Yeah, we thought we knew it all. Yeah, their statement is usually, "I know." What happens when we say, "I know"?
Shut ourselves off.
Yeah, right. You got yeah, it's cool. Yeah, that's right. We just don't know. I mean, it's actually a pretty arrogant thing. I mean, I look around this room and I'm thinking, what do I really know about aromatherapy? You know, what do I really know? I mean, I've coached landscape architects, but what do I really know about how it all works? You know, what do I know about brain surgery? What do I know about flying fighter jets? You know, I've flown a Cessna, but I've never flown, I've never been supersonic. You know, it's there's a lot of things I don't know. Okay. So it's pretty arrogant actually to talk about that we know because we don't know. So one of the things we need to eliminate is that from our languaging that I know. Because how many of you, maybe when you worked in somebody else or worked in corporate or something, went to your boss, said, "I've got this idea," and they said, "We tried that 2 years ago and it didn't work." How'd that make you feel? Pretty crappy, right? Mm-hmm. So what were they saying? They were saying, "I know, and we've already tried it." They didn't say it in that so many words. Well, so we've got to find some languaging to replace "I know." If somebody comes to you with an idea, we want to think about it at least. Mm-hmm. So what would you say?
What if, or imagine if.
Perfect. Those are great. What else? Yeah. Let's talk about what if we could do that? What would that look like? How could we? Is another good one. I like that's interesting, or isn't that interesting? It buys you time to think about something. You know, that's interesting because you may be going in your head, "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard," but you don't want to say that because you're going to cut them out. You want to say, "That's interesting. Let's talk. Let me think about it. Why don't we set a meeting for next Tuesday and talk about, that idea?" let me give it some thought. So I've got a great story on this beyond the scope of what we need to do now. But anyway, so we're going to eliminate I know. Is that good with everybody? Perfect. All right. Can anybody tell what this drawing is? You can see why I'm not.
Light bulb.
Light bulb. Holy cow. I'm amazed that somebody can figure that out every time. Yeah. So we say you're going to, you know, one of the things is you're going to get BFOs. It's not dirty. Does anybody know what it is besides Beth? Yeah, it stands for blinding flashes of the obvious. Okay. All right. We don't do rocket science. You know, we're in business. Okay. And frankly, a lot of y'all have been in business. In fact, all of y'all have been in business for a number of years. So all of you, I would call, are accomplished business people. Okay. But how many of you have ever, I mean, it's sort of that aha moment. Like, why didn't I think of that? I'll give you an example. I was teaching, I was working with a bunch of insurance sales guys. They had hired me to work with a team of about 8 or 9 of them. And the way I worked with them, we got together about once a month. It was really sales training. That's what it was. Okay. And in all different levels of experiences, we had new ones. And there was a guy that was about 2 years from retiring. And we were talking, and I said, you know, what did you used to do that worked that you don't do anymore? And he said, well, I used to do the 3-foot rule. You can't do this in COVID right now, but it still works. You can do the 6-foot rule, I guess. And I said, well, what's the 3-foot rule? And he said, well, whenever, think about this is an insurance guy, right? He says, whenever I would get within 3 feet of someone, I would introduce myself. I would give them a business card, and I would say something like, hi, I'm Bill. I know you probably don't need any insurance right now, but when you do, I'd love to talk about it and give you an estimate on your insurance. You know, here's my card. When your cycle comes around, please give me a call, and we can at least compare what you have now with what I have. And I said, well, why did you stop doing that? And he said, I don't have any business cards. It was pretty funny. I was like, well, okay, can we get more business cards? He's like, yeah, we can get more business cards. I said, well, why don't you give it a try and see if it still works? Because I don't know if it still works. He hadn't done it in 10 or 15 years. And so we got back together the next month, and I said, how did you go with the 3-foot rule? And he said, Bill, I've written 2 policies in the last 2 weeks just by introducing myself to people over the last 3 weeks. So the 3-foot rule worked. He had just forgotten it. So the blinding flash, the obvious is he was doing something that worked. It wasn't, the 3-foot rule is a great tool, by the way, for a lot of people, but it wasn't the 3-foot rule. It was that he stopped doing something that worked. Why would you do that? You know, if something is working, why would you stop doing it? Keep doing it, more of it. And that's what we need to do in more of our marketing. All right, so you're going to get BFOs. What should you do when you get a BFO?
Do it.
Maybe.
Think about it.
Maybe. Definitely think about it. Yeah.
Write it down.
Write it down. That's number one. How many of you have had the $3 million idea at 2 in the morning and couldn't remember it at 6? Yeah, which is why you want to write stuff down. Now, the reason I hesitated on to do it was maybe you want to try it or test and measure it. But Warren Buffett looks at 100 deals before he does one. So he turns down 99. He has 100 ideas before he does one. I want you to think about that a minute. He says no to 99 things. So just because you get 100 ideas doesn't mean they're all good. Okay? One of my mentors, a guy named Paul Dunn, told me that success is what you say no to. Or who you say no to sometimes. And that's a tough thing. I mean, I went down a road with a guy, a marketing person. We were looking at some collaboration. We did a couple months worth of work, and I just realized that, you know, it wasn't a good fit for me, and it wasn't a good fit for him. But he didn't see it, and so I had to say, you know, I got to pull out of this. I'm not going to be able to to do this. This is not going to work for me. And it was a good decision for me. I hope it was good for him, but I had to make the call. It was hard. I mean, we had gotten to be really tight. We were pretty good friends by that point, and hopefully still can be. All right, so you're going to get BFOs, write them down. What I like for you to do is write them down and put a value on them. Like if I do this thing, how much is it going to be worth to me over the next year? Put a dollar value on it, or the next 5 years, or the next 10 years. That way you can see. Like remember I said I want you to find one thing you can implement in 48 hours. What's that going to be worth to you when you hit on that thing? Okay? I don't know if it's going to be a blinding flash of the obvious, but probably is. Whatever strategy you decide, you may even already be working on it, but you just know you haven't put the effort into it you need to make it a reality. Okay? All right? Cool. All right, so your good BFOs, we'll share some of those along the way. All right. Who thinks planning is fun? Yeah, okay. We're going to make it as fun as it can be, okay? There's always work with planning, but we want to make it fun. One of the ways to make it fun is to do it in a group, okay? I mean, if I said, all right, Laura, I want you to go out and, have a retreat and take a couple of days and sit out there in the woods by yourself and come up with your plan, right? I mean, does that sound like fun? No.
Sounds
Okay.
amazing, actually.
Now,
After being at home with all 6 of us pretty much here.
well, what I would say is maybe you ought to get somebody to look after the kids. Maybe the 2 of y'all ought to go and have a planning session out for the family, right? So you can do the business. You can talk about the businesses. You can also talk about the family. I mean, like the family plan too, right? What's the plan? What's your family culture about? All that sort of stuff. Anyway, we'll make this as fun as possible. I want you to have a good time. That's why I say be relaxed, do whatever you need to do, be however you are. By the way, I have a friend he's a great guy, but he's a complete introvert. And I called him up and I said, how's COVID going for you? And he says, I've been social distancing my whole life. He said, this is awesome. I was like, it was pretty fun. So, all right, cool. Everybody good? How we doing? We good? All right. All right, well, let's get on to it. All right, what I want you to do now is get a blank sheet of paper. I don't really want you to get ahead here, but I want you to write down your wins. Like, what are your wins for the last, let's say, 3 months? What are your wins? So you can also go on to page 4 if you need prompting on like what's some stuff that you want on, but I'm really just looking for wins. You don't really have to use the ideas on there. So just what are your wins? You just find a blank piece of paper, a couple 3 wins each. I am going to, and then we'll let you, let's see, discuss those. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just a little bit too many to do it all together. Two. What are your wins or successes? Got a couple, 3. All right, I'm gonna put you in breakout rooms, and what I want you to do is just kind of discuss. I'll put you in breakout rooms, and you just go around and discuss your wins with the people in your breakout room. We'll give you about 3 or 4 minutes. We'll start with the person with the most hair. I'll let y'all work that out. There's 2 breakout rooms, so I'm going to open the rooms. You do have to join, I think, each room. So you'll have to go. So join the rooms, and then we'll be back in a minute. Yeah. Cool. Welcome back, everybody. Yeah, I always like that breakout room thing at the end. It feels like you're going through the Harry Potter chimney or whatever. You kind of get sucked back into the other room. Yeah, it sounded like some great discussions going in there. Were there any wins that you heard in your group that you thought, we should celebrate as a group that were amazing?
Yeah, Ron had a great win because he partnered with a marketing company that has helped him move his product to the mainstream, and it's generated so much business for him that he's seeing a lot of growth. Congrats, Ron.
Thank you.
Awesome. Congrats on that. Yeah.
I think for Laura, she was able to step away from doing all the work and kind of concentrate on getting herself in order to be able to run the business better. And that's something everybody has to do, is get yourself in order and take accountability and responsibility and ownership and put you and your family first before the business. Then you can invest in the business.
Yeah, it's all about choices and decisions. Well done. Other things that stood out? Anybody here?
I like what George had to say. People are paying him and thanking him at the same time. So like he's getting money and thank you notes, So that's good business when people want to give you their money. So.
It's a great business. It's like ice cream, right? Give you money and they smile, right? It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Why would I have you go back and look at your wins?
So you can see what you've achieved.
Yep.
It's not negative. You got to have some positive.
Right.
Or to see if you can change anything to benefit better from it.
Sure. Yeah, there's lessons in wins too.
I think as humans, our brains like to collect a lot of the data where we're not enough, and we aren't as good at recognizing when we are doing good things. And so it takes a lot of discipline to be self loving and caring and congratulating. And so it's not something that we do naturally.
Dead on. Yeah, I think we're in America and we want to achieve, and you know, and we need to stop long enough to say, hey, we really did achieve something here. We need to celebrate it, and it also rewards our brain for achieving something instead of saying, oh, no, we just got to work harder for the next thing. All right, cool. That was great. There's some really good wins in there. I think hopefully y'all feel good about that, and obviously you can build on those wins as well. So we'll do challenges next. What were your top 2 or 3 challenges over the last, we'll call it 90 days? What are your biggest challenges? We'll write those down, and then I will go ahead and put you back in the room to discuss them once we get them written down. And this time we'll start with the person with the least hair. So we'll go the other way this time, and then y'all can work out the order after that. So yeah, what are your top 2 or 3 challenges over the last little while? And we'll discuss those in the rooms. Great discussions, y'all. Well done. So we'll take a couple minutes, get them written down. About 30 more seconds. All right, here we go. I'm gonna put you in those break. I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna say about 5 minutes to discuss these. Okay. If you get done and y'all are just sitting around, you can put yourself back into the main session. But about 5 minutes. Something happened. Sure what happened, George, there. Sorry, stay here. I gotta go pee. Who's everybody?
We're back.
Magic.
Yeah, I think George just froze up or something. I'm not clear on what happened there, but it's all right. We'll keep going. Hopefully he'll jump back in at some point. We'll do it. All right. Good discussion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right. So a lot of times our learnings or our lessons come from our challenges, but we also get some from winning. So what have been some of your biggest learnings or lessons in the last 90 days? What are 2 or 3, let's just say 3 learnings or lessons that you've had in the last 90 days? So let's take 2 minutes and write those down. And then we're just going to probably just stay right here and share those because I want everybody to get the learnings. Meantime, All right, let's wrap it up. We'll wait, give them a couple minutes. It looks like we're still working here on the learnings. Josh and all right, well, let's just share those. We'll just stay here and share them. And so, Beth, what were your learnings or a learning? Let's just do the top learning.
Well, like I was saying to our group, one of the things that's happened to us as a win is that we've lost a few clients due to COVID and have already replaced them. But I've also come to realize the downsizing and not having as many clients has allowed me to focus more on who I've got remaining and finding what other services they may need for us to handle. You know, we've already got that working relationship. So it's allowed me to focus a little bit more on those who have, you know, remained with us and still in business.
Right. So going deeper with the clients you already have, with good clients, and having the right clients and going deeper with them is a real learning. That's good. Awesome. Josh, what's the learning for you?
Honestly, probably just to be a little more patient, and well, patient while I'm in the field, because I've had a bad history of just, you know, hurry, let's get it over with. And I can't, by doing that causes mistakes, and mistakes cost money.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to do the first time as opposed to going, it costs more to go back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, Laura?
I think mine is a little bit spiritual. It's, you know, trusting and listening to my intuition, and then, you know, feeling like there's something that's got, you know, a bigger power than myself, so that I can remember what my values and mission is and align things to that, instead of, you know, following sort of like the entrepreneurial protocol, which is grow at all stakes, you know, leverage yourself, work harder. You know, it's like, if it's not aligned with what feels true to me, I trust that it's not what needs to happen next. So that was a big thing for me, because I'm typically very driven and I'm always trying to be the next thing. So being nothing is kind of hard, but it's a great place to start over and get focused on what matters most.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first of all, you're not nothing. So
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're all, you know, in my, you know, my lingo, we're all children of God. So, yeah, anyway, so that's definitely something, but it is an interesting thing, because I know you, and I know that you are driven, and, you know, you want to, you know, go get a bunch of money and got all this. Well, that creates its own set of problems to have that sort of venture kind of back money, because they want results, and you got to do things, and they may want to do things that are not in line with what your values even.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it may be a little bit more bootstrapped, but I think this thing will probably be I mean, I can see a lot of ways it can go. It can be really big.
Yeah.
Really fast.
Yeah, and I think this idea that you have permission to still see the whole thing and see how big it is while you don't have any proof that there's that success is a real challenge, because the mind wants you to say, well, if I don't have this result, then is it so? But it's like, you know, planting a seed, it's growing, you just can't see it until it's blooming. So having the patience to sort of know that it doesn't have to look any specific way, and that nobody else really cares and nobody's judging you. Probably the only people who care are the people who you may or may not be paying on time. But other than that, that's it. It's just you.
Yeah. Well, there's also the compound effect too. As things grow, you know, little by little, it starts out slow. You can't really see it, but at some point it comes back.
Compound
Ron,
effect.
what's something you've learned?
You can only do so much in a day. You don't get frustrated.
Right. Yeah, work hard, get what you can done, call it a day, and come back tomorrow. It'll still be there.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Destiny.
I think for me, learning that like success looks different for different people, and what is it that I define success as. I've had some opportunities to partner with different people that would bring on a lot of volume and therefore more money. But I think part of why I'm doing my own business and what I love to do is the flexibility that comes with that. And so for me, that is less important and doesn't look like success to me. I would rather have more time and, you know, be able to spend more time. I guess kind of what Beth was saying as well is spending more time on the clients that I do have rather than just trying to work for everyone.
Right. Yeah, I think defining what success means to you is super, super important. Whatever that is. And, you know, if that, you know, there's, you know, I need to, you know, success might be that I need to spend, you know, for me, it was always, I wanted to be able to, you know, do my kids' stuff. You know, part of success for me was that I could coach them, you know, that I could, one of the reasons I worked for myself is because I could leave at 3 if I wanted to and go coach their soccer team or whatever, you know. And so you have to define success, and it depends on the stage of the business too. Like, you know, Ron's definition of what success is going to look like in his business could be very different than Beth's or mine even, you know, because it may be, you know, I'm making a big leap here, but I'm guessing at some point you've had a number of businesses. You probably want to build this one up and sell it at some point too. So, you know, that's a big leap, but you know, that, I mean, all businesses at some point should be sold, is my view on it. So, anyway, good stuff, y'all. All right, real quick, if there's something, oh, wait a minute, Ryan, what was the learning he had? He just made it back just in time.
One of a learning, I think one is, I don't know if it's a learning or just a coming to terms with, you know, I can't control everything and I can't do everything, and that's okay. Like, I think there's, you know, sometimes I just get it. I have a tendency to like want to always kind of get things done for the client as fast as I can and kind of get all the problems solved and just get that off my plate. But sometimes it just can't be done. And I think one of the things that I've come to learn, especially over this past 6 months, is just some things just have to kind of lie and just have to stay out there for a little bit. And sometimes I just have to not worry about it as much.
Yeah. I think there's been a lot of great life lessons, whether COVID's been great for you, whether it's been okay for you, or whether it's been bad for you. I just think there's great lessons in all of this. So, all right.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
Always remember, you can only put one shoe on at a time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Look, last thing on this part of the deal, are there things, and this is a little more individual, we're not going to discuss this, that you're in the middle of right now that you know you need to work on in the next 90 days? What is there a strategy or something you're working on that's incomplete that you're in the middle of that you know you need to complete, because that needs to be part of your plan for the next 90 days? Now, if it's something you're in the middle of and you don't want to do it in the next 90 days, you can make a note of it, but just know it might not be part of your next quarterly plan. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if there's something or things that you're in the middle of that you want to finish in the next 90 days, let's get that written down now, because those probably will be a priority because you're already working on it.
All right, so I have to run here in just a few minutes.
All right, so we're going to take a 15-minute break. So that's a good time for you to run, and then jump back on when you get back.
I will.
Okay.
I'll do it.
I'll catch you up.
I'll just go ahead and give you my incomplete, and that's stop procrastinating on writing proposals.
Yeah. So let me give you a hint on that. Set a rule. So the proposal has to be written within 48 hours of when you get it, or whenever. What's a reasonable amount?
Well, one of the issues that I battle with is I do all the proposals and all the numbers old school way. We don't have a program that we plug in and
Sure,
it does all that. So I've got notebooks and notebooks piled full of numbers. and it's kind of hard to get, you know, because we do remodeling. We're not a handyman service.
Yeah. Yeah, I got remodeling clients. I know what you do. Yep.
Yeah. So to really dig back through all that is just, it takes a lot of time. But I think the rule thing would be a good thing. You know, you got 3 days to have it together or lose out.
Yeah, make a rule and stick to it, and then I think I'd start looking at a program that would
Okay.
make it easier for
And
you.
accounting help.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Beth.
You're laughing, but contractors is one of my specialties.
I would actually love to sit down with an accountant and go through
She'll
3
do it.
years worth of books.
We'll get y'all hooked up.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll get that. We got that worked out. Beth works with a lot of my clients, so it's
Awesome.
It's all.
All right. Well, I'll catch you back when I get
All
back.
right. Yeah, that'll be good. And yep. So we're going to take a 15-minute break. It's 10 o'clock now, so we'll be back at 10:15. What time?
10:15.
10:15. Do whatever you got to do. I'll see you back at 10:15. You can mute, turn off your video, whatever you want to do, and we'll see you after a while. Yep. Where am I? 10:15 goals. I'm right on it, man. we're just on a little bit of a break here, George. We're coming back in 4 minutes, 3 minutes.
Yeah, when you sent me to the breakout room, it just hung.
It froze you up.
Yeah, and then I couldn't get back. I had to reboot my tablet.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, so if there's anything that you that you're working on, that you're in the middle of, that's an incomplete, you might want to make a note of that you want to get done in the next 90 days. Like any strategy or anything that you're in the middle of working on, that might be part of your plan. It's incomplete, obviously, that you want to do in the next 90 days. If you don't want to do it, till after the first of the year or something, then you can just make a note of it. So that's probably about all you missed, really. we did challenges and learnings, but and then we did learning. So we did once you had your challenges. So once we missed the learnings, just the learnings and the incompletes. So that's the only piece of work that we have to get on. So. I forgot. We need to do a stream. Let's see how we got time. All right, I've got 10:15, so we'll get started again. Looks like we're waiting on a few people, but forgot to do the ritual. So we need to do a bit of a stretch to turn our brains back on. So everybody get up. No, we'll make it like we're actually in a room. We'll go just stretch up. We'll reach up, get out of the chairs, reach up as high as you can. And we'll go over this way. Whichever way you want to go the other way. Put your hands on your hips and stretch back. And then those of you who can reach your toes, go for it. All right. Cool. So we're back. So what I want you to do is to get a piece of paper or somewhere in the workbook or something, or go back, through your notes. I want to know what your top 3 BFOs or learnings are thus far. Top 3 BFOs or learnings. If you can only get 2, that's all right. But most of it, I think, can get 3. Just write them down. What are your top 3 BFOs or learnings? BFOs are blinding flashes of the obvious if you need a reminder on that. Thus far. Then we're going to get into some planning. back through your notes. Part of locking in what you got is looking back through what you've written down. About 30 more seconds. All right. So let's go around and get one BFO or learning, whatever's the biggest one from everybody. Ron, what do you got?
Everybody has challenges or opportunities.
Yep. Sometimes both.
Yep.
Yeah. There's usually an opportunity with every challenge, isn't there?
Yeah, I enjoy challenges.
Yeah. But if it were easy, everyone would do it. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, actually thrive on doing something like that, a challenge.
yeah, absolutely. Laura, what do you got? You're muted. Still muted.
Yeah, that I'm clear and I have a path and I know exactly what I want to do and I have very little ambiguity, so that's great, and that's not something that I actually realized.
Cool. Destiny.
Mine's a little twofold, but with you saying don't stop doing what works, and then also Beth was talking about blocking out time for specific tasks, and that's something I've done in the past that worked very well that I just for some reason stopped doing, and so coming back to that.
Yeah. Beth.
You know, as probably the old adage, just one door closes, one or two more opens. I've definitely seen that with losing clients with COVID-19 and then turning around and gaining a few more. So.
Perfect. George.
Just basically putting in the effort, just getting, doing the things I know I need to do, and just getting up and doing them.
Yeah, you got to do the work. Yeah. Yeah, particularly. Or you got to hire somebody. You either got to do it or you got to hire somebody. So, but, there's certain things you have to do. I can't do your push-ups for you. There's certain things you have to do. So, all right, who knows what the reticular activating system is? Anybody? Okay, so it's a part of the brain. It's actually kind of a bundle of nerves at the base of the brain, and it's a little bit. It's about the shape of it's about the size of a quarter of an apple, about the shape of a quarter of an apple, and it's actually the part of the brain that it's part of the brain that controls what we pay attention to. It's not all of it, but it's part of it. Okay, and so Laura was talking earlier about we have a bias to focus on things that are out of place or that are wrong, as opposed to looking for things that are right. And this is the reason. It's the reticular activating system. Okay, so I'll give you some examples of how it works. Has anybody? The theory. Let me just give you the back. The theory is, and I think it's a pretty good one, that we're relatively, a lot of our brain is based on fight or flight. Okay. And so it's about safety. It's about taking care of ourselves. It's about getting ourselves out of danger. Okay. So if you're a mom and you're in your cave and you're a cave woman and you walk outside, it's really important that you notice that saber-toothed tiger or that dinosaur or whatever's getting ready to you know, attack your family. So as humans, we are wired, this is what I'm talking about, we are wired to look for what's wrong. Okay? I mean, how many of you know, like I know I can walk into a room and I can see if a picture's a little bit crooked or something, okay? And I'm not really that kind of a person, but I will go straighten up that picture, okay? Because I mean, that it's an interesting, it's just an interesting one. It's really easy to see what's out of place or wrong, okay? So, but we can also use it positively, and we're going to turn it around. But let me give you an example or two of how this thing works. Has anybody bought a new car at some point recently? Or yeah, everybody's bought a new car, got a car that was new to them, right? Right after you got it, what happened? Did you notice that there were a whole bunch of cars just like yours driving around?
Of course.
You start seeing them everywhere. The reason is they were always there, but your brain was not focused on it. Your reticular activating system had not focused on it. Okay. Another example. If you've ever been anywhere like visiting relatives or visiting people, and you're staying in their house or a hotel room, and there was some sort of noise like a drip or an airplane or railroad or something that kept you up at night, kept waking you up, right? Your reticular activating system doesn't know whether that was a danger to you or not. Now you walk downstairs to your guest and you say, how in the world do you sleep with that train coming by every hour all night? And they say,
What train?
what train? And the reason is because their brain has worked out that train is not a danger. That train is probably actually very comforting. It probably helps them sleep better. Okay? It's sort of like, rain on a tin roof. If you grew up with that, rain on a tin roof, it makes you go, it'll put you right to sleep because it's a comforting thing. But it's not because of the rain on the tin roof or the noises, because it's not a danger. It's actually comforting to know that you got a roof over your head, right? So the main interesting thing we need to understand about the reticular activating system is it doesn't understand negative. Okay, so the best example on that is I'm out somewhere. My wife, on the way out the door, she says, "Don't forget to get the bread." What am I likely to do?
Get the bread.
Forget the bread, because the reticular activating system only heard forget the bread. It doesn't hear you don't forget the bread. So what we need to do is change our languaging to the positive. It needs to be remember the bread. Sorry about that. I heard something. I'm not sure what's going on upstairs. Not supposed to be anybody here. But anyway, so remember to get the bread is the way we want to put this thing. So does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So part of what we want to do, and a lot of us know what we don't want. It's totally okay to say that or to write it down as long as we flip it back to the positive. So I don't want to lose money. The brain hears I want to lose money. So we have to trick our brain into, I want to make a profit. Is this making sense? Everybody got it? Okay, so we want to flip so why is this important? Why am I talking about a piece of the brain and how it works? Okay, well, the reason it's important is because we want to focus on what we want, not what we don't want. Okay, part of the way to it's not a bad exercise to get a sheet of paper, write down the middle, don't want, and then write down all the stuff you don't want, and then flip it over because where we're going with this is goals. Okay, we want to set some goals, so we want to set them positively. All right. And if you've ever worked in corporate, then you've heard of SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and a time frame. I'm going to give you a time frame, but they need to be specific and measurable to be a goal. All right? Does this make sense? So what we want to do in goal setting is set our reticular activating system towards what we want, not what we don't want. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Good. All right, so we're going to set some goals. All right, we use a simple process called 5-3-1-90. Why? Okay, 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, 90 days. We're going to do the 5-3-1 real quick. The why is the most important thing. Because if you don't have a good enough reason and the goal's hard enough, you won't do it. Does that make sense? We're going to come back and do the 90 later. I'm not going to ignore the 90 because that's what we're here for. But we got to know where we're going in the bigger picture. All right? So in your book, if you go over to page 10, there are some, how many areas can you have goals in, by the way?
Unlimited.
It's unlimited, you know, but there's a lot of areas you can have goals. So if you go to page 10, there are a few areas just to prompt you. You don't have to use them. You can have your own goals, but I want you to so it's got wealth, property, home, family. You know, there's probably spiritual on here, professional, business, travel, charity, you know, whatever you want to, you can have a goal in. But I want you to get your brain working a little bit, and I want you to do, you know, get some 5 to 10 year goals. And then I want you to flip over to page 12 and begin working on your 3-year milestones and then your 1-year goals. Now, look, if 5 years is a little bit fuzzy, then I want you to start with the 1-year goal and go the other way. Does that make sense? Because it may be a little fuzzy. Like you're starting over a little bit, Laura, you may be like, 5 years, where do I want to be? You know, I mean, it could be, you know, I want to franchise this thing over, you know, I want to have 100 units 10 years from now, you know, or it could be, I want to have 3 units from now. So whatever your goals, by the way, your goals are your goals. Okay. And if 5 or 10 is too long, start with 3. If 3 is too long, start with 1, but start with something. Just get some goals down. Okay. Everybody got the assignment? Any questions about it? All right. I'm going to try to figure out what's going on upstairs just a minute. I'll be right back. Just hang in there, and I'll be back. We'll give you let's do this, see if we can get, by the way, you perfectionists, just do it. Get it down. Get something on paper. Get it started. Don't try to make it perfect. This is not about perfection. This is about getting something we can use. Okay? So I've got it on my wall right here. It says, from George Patton, a good plan violently executed right now is better than a perfect plan next week. So we want a good plan. Okay? I'll be right back. I'm going to go see what's going on upstairs. Make sure that I'm not being cleaned out. Awesome. That squared away. Let's see if I can find some music.
Actually, that moves to me.
You don't have to have something in every area, by the way. Just pick the areas that you want to work on. 3 to 6 is a good number of goals to have, big goals. How y'all doing?
Good.
Where are you?
I'll get one more.
Okay. Has anybody got a complete goal worked out, like a financial? Oh, I forgot. One of them needs to be financial. I like one financial, one personal, and one. The rest of them can do whatever. Has anybody got one worked out? 531. Yeah, Laura.
Yeah.
What's
So
the 5-year goal?
I did 3, 5, 10. So 3-year goal is 2.5 million in sales. The 5-year goal is 5 million in sales, and the 10-year goal is 10 million in sales. And then there's salary things for me in there, and how many people we have, and then profitability goals as well.
Perfect. Yeah, you see how specific that is? Does everybody get that? How specific those goals are and how they're set up? Now, why is that important to you, that 10 million goal?
That's the number where I can exit and sell the company to like either a private equity firm, or that it's generating enough cash flow that it can become a family business that I can leave to my kids, or we could sell it and then move on to the next part of our lives and retire.
So that gives you options.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Why do you want options?
Why not?
Yeah. What I want to encourage you to do, and we could take this a little further, Laura, and dig a little deeper into it, but why that you're driven like this has something to do with something that probably happened to you when you were very young. Okay, and I don't, it may not. It could have been recent, but I've known. I mean, I think you kind of are the way you are. So, I mean, we need to live into that. And so, but it's okay to tap into that. Like I had a buddy who he can't stop trying to make money, and I just asked him why, and he's like, "Man, I grew up poor. I never want to go back there." When we dug into it a little deeper, he just said, I never want to have to tell my kids that, we can't do that. I never want to have to say, well, if I want to go on a trip, I can't take it. I mean, this guy was well beyond any of that stuff. There was no way he was ever going back there. I mean, it would take some catastrophic world event to do it. So digging into your why is important, because if you're going to achieve 10 million, you got to have a pretty good why, and it can be your kids. It can be your family. It can be, usually for me, it's always somebody else. It's like, what do I want for my kids? What do I want for, these other people? It's not, I mean, I kind of have this thing, about making money. Yeah, we want to make money, but why? So we can do some good with it. Mm-hmm. What can we do with, what kind of good can we do in the world? With the money. So, yeah, we'll get through it. How are the rest of you doing on goals? Have you got your goals down, or you feel pretty comfortable with that, or you need a little more time?
Mine.
Ron's good. All right. How are you guys, Destiny, Ryan? You guys good?
Yeah.
Progress.
Yeah.
Progress. Yeah, by the way, the first time you do this sort of thing, like this process, it's a little bit like a fire hose. So it's okay. You're going to, when I was talking about BFOs, about Tuesday or Thursday or maybe 2 weeks from now, you're going to be, something's going to hit in your head. And you're going to be like, I know why we were talking about that, or why that happened, or what this, what Bill was talking about now. It's okay your brain will figure stuff out over time. It's just, it may not. Have you ever had that deal where something was complicated and then you looked at it a few weeks later and it was simple? Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. All right, we'll give you a few more minutes to kind of flesh those out. The more specific you can be, the better, but I love it. I love it. Good stuff. Thanks, Laura. Thanks for sharing. Everybody give her a hand. Yeah, we'll give her a hand. Yeah, or you can use the buttons, at the bottom, whatever you want to do. We'll give you a couple more. You can even get more detailed in your goals. Because what we want to do is take those goals down and say, all right, for 10 million, what do we got to do for 90 days? And then eventually, what do we got to do next week? That's going to put us on that path. Let's take about 5 more minutes and we'll wrap this up. And then I got to give you a bit of an overview, and then we'll get into picking some strategies.
Didn't see that. That's all. Yeah.
Couple more minutes. And let's wrap it up. All right, so if you haven't finished up your goals, that'll be the first piece of your home fun to get done in the next week or so, is to kind of tighten up those goals. It'll also be something we can go over when we get together. There's a couple of interesting questions that, if you didn't do the pre-work, are really good on 16. And one is on page 16, which is what's your vision? And my business is finished when? We don't ask our question, when will my business be finished? And people say, well, what does that mean? When I'm not in it anymore? I'm like, well, if the business can run without you, then it's finished. Okay. So, or if maybe it's when you sell it, it could be finished for you. So it's a good question. No, it's like, what is the date when your business will be finished? It gives you a deadline to get this stuff in order to do it. All right, I need to give you guys a bit of an overview before we move into, at the bottom of that page 16, I'm going to go into what that is, the 6 steps to building any business. And then I want to go over one more concept and real quickly, and then we'll get into it. So, but you got to know where we're going to be able to make sense out of this checklist and this sort of thing. So, so when we start, this is the 6 steps. It's you guys can sort of call it out to yourselves or with me. So it's mastery, niche, leverage, team, synergy, results. Okay, to build any business. Okay, now what's in mastery? So the definition, if we take a definition of a business, is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without us. Now, you may not want that. That's okay. But that's a commercial profitable enterprise that works without the owner. That's a true business. That's a business that can be sold. Now, you may not want that. That's okay. The path is the same. Okay? If you want to be a solopreneur and you want to do it, you still build the business the exact same way. Okay? And I'm just going to show you the path. It's a bit beyond the scope to get in details on it, but I want to give you the overview so that we can see how to do it. All right? So what's in mastery? There's 4 areas of mastery. There's destination mastery. Where do you want the business to go? When will it be finished? Those kind of questions that we've already talked about. Well, but where are we going with this thing? What does it look like? So destination is a piece of it. Delivery mastery. That is your basic customer service level. How are you going to deliver your products and services? And will it be delivered the same no matter who's delivering it? So if Beth and I are working in the same company and Beth answers the phone and I answer the phone, are we going to answer it more or less the same way? Okay, it's the basic level of customer service. Money mastery. How does cash flow through your business? Do you get your financial reports on time, and do you know how to make decisions with it? What are your key performance indicators? In other words, what are the measurements that you get every single week or every single day or every single month to run your business with? Do you have those in place? Are your financial controls in place? Okay. And then you have time mastery, which came up a lot. You know, how do we control ourselves? How do we control our time to get the most out of it? So those are the 4 areas of mastery. Okay. Once you've got those in place, you're just going to have a commercial enterprise. It may not even be profitable. This is like the foundation of a house. Every business has got to have a foundation. This is a foundation of the house. Okay. Now, what we find is most people have a lot of that stuff worked out, but not all of it. Okay, then we get into niche. And niche is about what makes us different. Niche is about creating cash flow. So this is where we get a commercial, profitable enterprise. This is profitability in niche. This is about what makes us different, and also something called the 5 ways, which is called the marketing leverage, which I'm going to get into next. I'm going to go over that now, but this is how we create a business that's profitable. This is about creating enough cash so that we can come back and invest in systems. Okay, so leverage is about systems. Leverage is about creating repeatability. Leverage is about doing something once and getting paid forever. This is about putting in a process that can that someone else can do. Okay, this is the key to success in most businesses, is creating enough leverage in your business. If you ever want to scale a business, you have to have leverage. Okay, now there's 4 areas of leverage. There's financial leverage, there's people leverage, there's education, and then there's testing and measuring leverage. And I think there's one more. I'll get into it. But these are the areas. So a lot of people get team in place, and that's okay. But unless the team has the proper systems to run, you're going to be dependent on people more than you are dependent on your systems. Okay? Most people are sort of 80% dependent on their team and 20% on. It doesn't mean we don't need great team. We need great team. Okay? But we want to get it where, about 80% of everything is systemized. Okay? You think about some of the great businesses that guaranteed they have high levels of systemization. When you walk into Starbucks, do they have a certain way they're going to make that double chocolate, whatever you're going to get? Okay? Espresso thing. All right? Because it's got systems. All right? Then you develop team, which is all about hiring the right people. Okay? This is about getting the right people in place to run the systems. All right? So we've got mastery, niche, level. So we got a commercial, profitable enterprise that works. The leverage gets it to work. And then once you build a team in place, that can work without you. Okay? If you don't want to create all this, no problem. The steps are still the same. Get the mastery and the niche working, then build some leverage. You can still build leverage into your business, systems into it to get it done. Guaranteed you already have it. Like Destiny, you probably have a certain way that you would sort of approach a project. It's probably the same every time, okay? You might not think about it that way, but there's probably a way you do it. Okay, that makes it so that you can do it. Like if I call you up and said, hey, I need to do some stuff, you're going to say, well, okay, we need this, this, and this. Book a time, whatever. That's your system. Okay, team. Even if you're a solopreneur, you have team. You have, if you think about it, because you have your accountant, you have your bookkeeper, you have your lawyer, you have your clients, you have your vendors, you have your your consultants, coaches, you have whoever, okay, that you have on your team. All right. Now, does everybody see this where we're going with this? So it doesn't mean we don't have team down here. It just means we're focused on getting the basics in place, focused on getting some cash flowing, building out systems, and then building out team to run the systems. We may have team and systems throughout the whole thing. It's just where our focus is as we build the business. Then synergy is really about models. Synergy is about how do we scale this thing. Okay, this is where we get high levels of growth. Okay, this is about taking your business into other states or in different locations or overseas or franchising or licensing or some sort of a model that's going to allow for scale. And then results are hopefully more time and more money so that you can become, reinvest in your business or other businesses or real estate or whatever. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's kind of where we're headed to get a commercial profitable. Now in niche, I'm going to get you guys that have never done this process before to focus mostly on mastery and niche today. But some of you, if you've got a little bit more developed business and you can get into leveraging team, fine. Okay, but if you haven't, if you're brand new to this, never done it, got a new emerging kind of a thing, mastery and niche will probably give you plenty to do for the next 90 days. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so let me go into the 5 ways. This is how you grow business. So how many of you know that car makers will often use the same chassis to build different models of cars? Does everybody know that? Right. So like Ford, when they owned Jaguar, used to have I think it was the Taurus and the base Jaguar. They were the same chassis. The original Porsche was built on a Volkswagen chassis, right? And so it's a common thing where they'll use multiple models. Now there's a big difference between a Porsche and a Volkswagen, right? Pretty big difference between a Taurus and a whatever, the Ford Focus and a whatever Jaguar, okay? All right, so this is the formula. I'm going to go through it and we'll just look at it together about how to build any, this is called marketing leverage. So one of the definitions of leverage is divide to multiply. So what we're doing is taking out, we want more profit, but we have to divide it down into the areas that will get us more profit. You can't just get more profit, okay? So it's the same with clients. You can't get more clients. So the way it works is there are a certain number of leads that you get coming into your business, okay? I don't know how they come in, but they come in. They may walk in, they may call, they may come in from some marketing you're doing. There's a bunch of ways you get leads, but you will not convert all of them to clients. Is that fair? Or customers or patients or whatever you call them. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay? So there's a certain percentage that will become clients. Okay? I'm going to call them clients for our market here, but you call them whatever you want. Customers, whatever you want. Now they're going to buy an average dollar from you. So I know some of you sell some things that are $2 and some things that are 200,000, but there's an average. Okay, if you have different divisions, you're going to run this on all your divisions. Like I have a company that runs it by office. I have another one that runs it by, and this is about marketing. This is not about accounting. So I want you to understand that there's some differences between accounting stuff, Beth can vouch for this, and the marketing piece of how to grow a business with using this general approach, okay? So there's a certain average number. Now, they will come back. They will buy from you in a certain period of time, okay? It may be, for some of you businesses, it could be weekly, it could be daily, it could be every 10 years. Builders might be once every 7 or 8 years, or, a remodeler like him, he probably is going to get 7 or 8. He's not in here, but it might be he might do a project. It might be 3 or 4 years before he does another project for the same client. But there's a repeat business piece of your business. for most of us. Some people say, I haven't seen one yet that there isn't because of referrals. All right, so when you multiply your clients times your average dollar sale times your number of transactions, you get your revenues, okay? And then you get to keep some of it, which is called our margin. And Beth will vouch, I know the difference between fixed cost and variable cost, and it's not a straight line, but in general, this is a number we want to improve, profits. I mean, margins. Would that be fair? Okay. When you take your margins times your revenue, you get your profits. Okay. All right. Now, if you were starting, now there's 5 ways. So how many ways are we going to work on? It's not a trick question. Hello, anybody? How many ways are we going to work on?
5.
5. There we go. All right. Just want to make sure y'all are with me. All right. So let's put in some numbers and show you how this works. And I'm going to pick some numbers. So let's say we get in a year, we get 4,000 leads. And let's say on average, we close 1 in 4. So we have a 25% conversion rate. All right. Which is going to give us what? 1,000 clients. Right?
150.
With me? 25% of 4,000 is 1,000. All right, and let's say they buy $100. Let's say they buy twice a year from us. We get, all right, so that's going to give us a business of 200,000 in revenues. And let's say it's a service-based business and we can make a little higher margin than some businesses make, 25%. So we get to keep 50 grand. Everybody with me? Got to get lower here and work on my squats. Everybody with me? Okay. We're going to work on 5 areas. So we're going to look to get a 10% increase in each area. Now I'm going to need somebody to get a calculator, a phone, or something out to do some calculations for me. So I don't have to do it in my head. All right, so we're going to get 10% more leads. How would we get more leads in your business?
Networking.
Networking would work great. What else?
Advertising.
Yeah, you could advertise somewhere. Targeted advertising. What else? How would you get more leads?
Social networking.
Yep, social network. What else? In other words, there's about 83 different ways. They're all in this book, Instant Cash Flow. But there's a bunch of ways to get leads. Can we agree that we could get 400 more leads in a 4,000 lead business?
Yeah.
We could agree with that, right? That's a little more than that's probably about 2 a day of business days. It's about 200. It's a little less than that. All right, so we're going 10%. All right, so we'll make that 4,400. All right, now conversion rate. How many of you measure your current conversion rate? Good. How many of you don't measure your conversion rate? All right, if you want a 10% increase in your conversion rate, the simplest way is to measure it. How else could you get a higher conversion rate?
Better leads.
Yeah, better quality leads would give you a higher conversion rate. Absolutely. So if you have better targeted advertising, you were clear on who your ideal client was, you were focused on serving only them, you would probably get better leads, right? How else could you increase your conversion rate?
Better sales systems or messaging.
Right. Yeah, scripting, for example. Having a system to sell, having a sales process, a diagram sales process to figure out where you were losing them, okay, along the way. You can have multiple conversion rates in your sales process. Having a sales process will raise your conversion rate. Training, tons of more in the book. There's 70 something, okay? The best example of that is I worked with a roofer one time who was getting about 25% currently of their sales were converting, about 1 in 4. And we implemented some sales training. We created a diagram sales process. We added a bunch of artifacts to it, like some scripting and some things that we set up people, like the phone call, the initial phone call. There was positioning in it. Anyway, a lot of work. We got it up to where it's about 35% now. It's where it is. You can do the math. It's a pretty big jump, you know, they're a $10 million business now. So it's a pretty good jump. All right. So we're gonna implement a few strategies, and we're gonna get that up. We're not getting up 10%. We're getting up a 10% improvement. So we're gonna get it to 27.5%. Okay, from 25%. Right? Okay. So what's the math on that? Who's got the calculator? 0.275 times 4,400.
$12.10.
12.10. Perfect. All right. Now, our average dollar sale in this business is 100. How would you get your average dollar sale up?
Upsell.
Upsell, cross sell, downsell even. If you start high, I mean, there's something called the law of contrast. Like, that's why you walk in and they try to sell you the highest refrigerator. Because if you're looking at a $3,000 refrigerator, all of a sudden $1,200 doesn't sound so bad when you were coming in to get the $800 one, right? Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah. What's the easiest way?
Increase prices.
Yep, raise your prices. Selectively, of course. Sometimes you can do it across the board. You can raise your prices. Usually that will get you pretty good. Other ways to increase your average dollar sale.
Cut your cost.
That's going to be margins. Okay.
Okay.
We'll come back to that in a minute, but that's important because that's actually what I would do first. But yeah, but our average ticket,
Yeah, bundling.
Bundling is a good way.
Yeah.
You know, I worked with a furniture repair guy early days, probably about 15 years ago, and we changed two things in his business. But the one thing we did about average dollar sale was what he would do is we created a script essentially, and when he walked in or any of his people walked in to go check and see, you know, how much it was going to be to refinish grandma's table. So his average dollar was about $385. Okay. He would go in and he would look at grandma's table and he would, you know, figure out what it was going to be. And then he would say, you know, I noticed over here, you know, this corner cupboard has got a scratch or two on it. You know, I can fix that. It's just a little bit more. And he did, you know, he would just do that. He would just go around the house looking at stuff. That was really all we did. He got it up to he got it up 188%. In other words, if it was 385, he got it to about 730. Okay. And so our profits went up 188% just on that one. But the other strategy was he was getting a lot of tire kickers, and we started charging 150 before he would go out. And then we would apply the 150 towards the repair if they did it. So it took all the tire kickers out. If they weren't serious about getting that table repaired, they didn't call him. Okay. So that was the two strategies to get 188% improvement in bottom line. He actually went from making a little loss to making a pretty good profit. So it was pretty good. So we're going to get this up to 110. And in this business, we're going to assume there's repeat business. We're going to figure out how to get them back 1 in 10 more often. How would you get people back to buy from you?
Sure, they have a good experience.
Great experience. Yep.
Deliver a
In
good
contact.
product.
Sorry, what was that?
Stay in contact with them.
Yeah, keep in touch. How else?
Deliver a good. Go ahead,
Sorry,
Josh.
Something we implemented 2 years ago was around the holiday season, we started sending out thank you packages, jams and jellies and that kind of stuff. And that, you know, appreciation packages.
Yep, perfect. Yep, gets people back. Coupons, that, when they buy their first thing, do you give them a discount on, or a value add on the second thing they can buy?
Deliver a quality product.
Yeah, quality products, absolutely. What about, you guys do realize that we're in competition with everyone. I mean, we're in competition not with the other people in your industry, we're in competition with Amazon. Okay, and even if you use Amazon as a sales channel in your business, you're still in competition with Amazon. What do?
Email you all the time, make you offers all the time.
Right. Yeah. If you get on there, they say you may be interested. If it just say it's a book, you may be interested because of these books you read. You may be interested in these other three. They know that a person buying a diet book is the most likely person to buy another diet book. They know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They know all the averages. All right. So we're going to get them back 1 in 10. We're going to get them back. We're going to get it to 2.2. So what is 1210 times 100 times 2.2?
$266,200.
262.
266.
Sound right?
Did it right. Hold on.
It's close.
266,200.
1210 times 100 times 2.2. 266.2. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. It's supposed to be 110. I knew I did something wrong. We get a 10% increase. We're going to get that average dollar sale to 110. Let's do that again. $292,820. That's on me. I can't. I forgot to put the 10% on that one. So, all right. So that's actually a 46% increase in your sales just by a few small strategies. All right. Let's look at margins. How would you get your margins up?
Is that conversion the contracts you're landing, so to speak?
Yeah, you missed a little bit of that. Conversion rate is you're not going to land all your leads. So if depending on how you define leads, let's say you define leads as estimates given.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you do 10 estimates, how many will you convert to being customers?
I mean, 27% in my industry is a really, really low number.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what your number is. We're just looking to improve it.
Okay.
So it's going to be different in every business. So in your business, for example, you will get a lot less leads. You'll probably have a little higher conversion rate. You'll have a bigger average dollar sale. You'll probably have a lower number of transactions.
Yeah.
And your margin will be whatever it'll be. It doesn't matter. Every business is a little bit different, but this works in any business. Okay. So one of your pieces of home fun will be to go figure out what your 5 ways numbers are. Okay. Because this what we're about is getting a baseline and improving.
Okay.
No margins. We already hit on one. Look at your cost. I mean, during COVID, how many of you went back and looked at all your expenses and saw if there was something you could cut out? I know I had this thing. I had one of those things that was like billing me every year on my credit card. It wasn't a lot, but I mean, it was a few $100s, and I wasn't using it. So, it hit me, and I'm like, hang on, I don't need that $300 thing. Send it out. All kind of stuff. It's just shocking how you can get them there. How else? By the way, if you've raised your prices, are you going to get a higher margin?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why raising your prices is big, because it's actually a double whammy on this calculation. Okay. You will make more margin and you will get a higher average, and so you will end up with more profit. So, I've got all kind of examples in that. The only people who can't get more margin are usually you can, even like I work with some insurance people. Their margins are a little bit, you can get a better margin because they've got overhead by getting bigger. But as far as the gross profit margin, a lot of times it's just selling a different line. We'll get them a little better margin, but we still want to get the best people. But anyway, so profit. Okay, so we're going to get, so what is that? What's 27.5% times 0.275 times 292?
Where did we come up with the 27% margin?
Look, I just made these right here all, so this is 25%, and we're doing a 10% increase.
Okay.
So it's 2.5% on 25%, which gives us 27.5%.
Okay.
I'm doing 10% across the board.
Okay.
Okay. So. So it comes out to 80,525 and 50 cents.
With a 10%.
Yeah, 10% in every area in each of the 5 ways.
Yeah.
Which is
So-
$30,000 more in this example. Who could use 30 grand? Yeah, we all could. Okay, it doesn't matter how big your business is, it's 30 grand is still a number. It's also a 61% increase in your profits. Now, you know, I'm just doing 10%. Now I told you I got 188% with the guy in average dollar sale. We've gotten to, you know, I've gotten a 25% conversion rate to a 35% conversion rate. You know, we've doubled leads, you know, margins. We've increased those 10, 20% sometimes, you know, by just doing some things. I found we eliminated a person we didn't need in a separate business we had, saved $65,000 in a year. But this is important to understand in your business. If you start looking at these 5 ways and all the strategies, now that's what you're going to start getting into. And what are some of the strategies that are going to help your business here? But you got to know a little bit where we're going, right? Does everybody understand this? Any questions about this? The point here is getting a few small gains in a few areas of your business can have a huge impact on your bottom line. Particularly in a business like yours, Laura. A lot of transactions. Yeah, a lot of repeat business.
Yeah, we just increased our prices and redid our cost of goods sold to sort of see what that does, because we saw that we had to spend more money on marketing and advertising and giving things away, and so that changed a lot of the numbers at the bottom.
Yeah. Figure out what your 5 ways numbers are first. Do this exercise in your own business. Don't try to be perfect. It's not accounting. Okay. I get that there's existing clients. I get that you have fixed and variable costs. This is about marketing. This is about getting an idea of what's going on and improving it. If you want more clients, you can't get more clients. You got to get more leads or a better conversion rate. You want more revenues, you got to improve one of those 2 or get a higher average sale or a number of transactions. You got to get them back more often. You know, in a remodeling business, a lot of times we're looking for better clients with higher jobs, for example.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Margins, got to pay attention to that. There's a lot of stuff going on now with lumber, that sort of thing in the construction business. Okay. To get more profit.
Hey, Bill,
all right.
Is there anything wrong with doing it the other way around? So like, for instance, starting with a revenue number and then working backwards?
You can do it, work it however you want. You know, when I do this with somebody, like if I were doing this with you to just get your basic numbers, what I would do is say, about what was your revenue last year?
Mm-hmm.
About what was your profit last year? Then we'd figure out the margin.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'd say, all right, do you know like how many customers you had?
Mm-hmm.
I'd fill that in. What's your average ticket? You know that number probably. And then I'd say, well, what do you think? How many times does someone, average person, buy from you a given time?
Right.
So we could either fill out the clients or we can back into those numbers. And then to get it, that's what I would do with you, and to get an idea of what it is till you could actually figure it out, the real number.
Right.
And then I would say, 1 in 10 people that call, how many people buy that call out of 10? And you'd say 7 or 6 or whatever the number is. And then we back into how many leads you need. And then we'd go backwards and figure out, like, what do you want to make?
Yeah.
and get it
Yeah,
that.
with an online business, it gets a little different because it's all, you know, really big numbers and the conversions are much smaller. And
Sure.
you know,
Yeah,
it's-
yeah. With our online businesses, sometimes you'll have like a 0.5% conversion rate or something crazy, you know, people that visit the website. It depends on how you define your leads, right? You want to get granular. Now, can you have goals in all these areas?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I want to improve my margins from X to X plus 3. I want to improve my average dollar from 100 to 200. You know, those are goals that you could have.
Yeah.
I just had to give you an overview. So remember the 6 steps.
Sorry. I was going to ask you, one of the things that I'm finding is in the margin, there's a lot of things that people, including myself, don't include, and that's where you end up having numbers that don't work.
Yep.
So you have your cost of goods, but you also have your cost of sales. You have your G&A. I mean, you break it down a little bit more, and then all of a sudden everything has to be rethought out, because to get there, to get that top of the funnel, you've got to actually give more margin up than what you thought. And then that's where you go, okay, this model's not really scaling. I got to go back and rethink it.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's just look at, yeah, absolutely. Let's just look real quick, like if you got 100%, just for fun in this model. So if you went 100% instead of 10, that'd be 8,000. This would be 50%. So you'd have 4,000. And that would be 200 times 4, which is 8. That's 3.2 million. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. Yeah. Well, that's 800. Yeah, 3.2 million. 3.2 million. And this is 50%, which gives you 1.6 million. A lot of times you can get 100% in one of these areas. You might not get it in all of them, but sometimes you can get it in one of those areas. In fact, you can get more than that sometimes. A lot of people don't, when I go over this thing, they're like, what? But yeah, I mean, I told you in one strategy, we almost doubled his average dollar sale. You know, so it can be done. All right, so that's the overview. So we're going to get into the checklist here. Came off. So the checklist, okay, they start on page 17. We're going to take a little bit. And the way it works, if you look at page 17 with me, we're going to start with money mastery. Remember we were down in this. We're going to start in mastery. We're at niche. Those of you a little more advanced will go to leverage and team, but most of you we're going to focus on money. If you've never done this before and you're considered maybe an emerging business, I would like for you to stick to just to niche and mastery. On page 17, you answer the question. So the first one says, I know on average how much I make on each sale and record it. The answer is yes or no. And then you see the 4 box to the side? That says items I will work on in the next 90 days. 1 column per quarterly. MAD stands for massive action day. Don't let that confuse you. That was just a terminology we use sometimes for these planning sessions. Okay, so if you want to work on it in the next quarter, then you put a check box by that right there, that first block. If you want to work on it 3 quarters now, but let's just focus on the next 90 days. And if it's a yes, you don't have to put it down there. Does everybody got it? Everybody understand the checklist? So you'll go through 17, 18, 20, 21, and 22.
Hey, Bill, I don't think I have that workbook. I have an 8-page one and nothing else.
This one's 50 some pages.
No, I don't have that.
Okay.
You probably not
Should have
did.
got an email
Yeah, but that's
yesterday.
all that was.
Yeah, that's the other one.
That's the
Yeah, and that's what you sent out.
Well, I sent it. We should have gotten another email yesterday. Let me do this. I can't put it in the chat because it's on the other computer.
Yeah, I've just had the advantage. I've
I'll
been here,
just
done this
email it.
before.
I'll
and
just
used it
email
my
it.
own.
Who doesn't have it?
I'll just say, so it went directly into my promotions box. So if you have like Gmail or something where it sorts it, you might check.
It might have gone into junk mail.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you could check that in the interim, I'll email it to you.
It was from the same email address, Bill?
Yeah. Yeah, it's an alternate email. Sorry.
Oh, maybe that's one.
Let me see. I can email it right now, though. I'll email it from my other email address. So, George, what's your email?
gwagner@me.com.
gwagner@me.com. Yeah. Yeah, that's just what happened. That's why I asked it. Okay, G Wagner. How about you, Laura? What's yours?
Laura@adoratherapy.com.
I may have you in here. Laura. I changed computers, so that's why I lost some of you guys that I've had. George and Dora Therapy. If I typed it right, we'll be there. So workbook. Let me attach it. It's called Growth Club Workbook 2020. And it's a kind of a big attachment, so it's not going to like it, but.
And what's the email you're sending it from? Bill at MG.
I'm not sure which one they sent it from. I mean, my team sent it, so they didn't send it from my email.
Nothing's come in yet.
Well, I haven't sent it yet. Hang on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought you might be looking in the junk folder.
Yeah, it's not there.
Okay, this one's just now going. I had to wait for it to load, the document to load.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, we'll get you there. I got to figure out the technology to get it so where I can just put it on the screen too. I can share my screen in the meantime. It's on the way.
Great.
Should get it pretty shortly. I don't know how long it takes to go through all the. In the meantime, I can do some other stuff to help out with the situation while the rest of y'all are doing your checklists. I can move it over on this other computer. Did it come through?
Yeah, I got it.
I
You
got
get
it.
it? Did you get it?
Yeah, I just figured I didn't get it because I already had a lot of this information.
No, it probably went to some spam folder or something. You got high level security. It's the same stuff. I mean, you probably do have it.
I do. I mean, I printed
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, you probably do have it somewhere. Yeah.
Well,
Did you
that
get
was
it?
my thought, is I've already
Did you
got
get
it.
it, Laura? Okay. All right. Just want to make sure everybody got it. Apologies there. That's a technology thing that we have to figure out. You got to take some responsibility there and figure out how to figure that out. I need to make a note on that. That's happened twice where some people get it and some people don't. If you have questions about what any of the terminology is, just holler, and because everybody's got the same questions.
What pages were we doing?
17 through 22. Yeah.
Okay.
If you get all those done, you can keep going, but my guess is you're going to have plenty of work to do on those first 5 or 6 pages. Remember, do it quickly. So we want to get through this portion by about 5 more minutes left on your checklist.
Some stopping points, so I'm just gonna go. Dover.
So all right, we like dogs.
That's Brady. He goes wild when he goes outside.
Brady, have Brady come on in to the meeting. You all right? Most people, I think. All right. So where are you? How are you? How you doing? Where are you on this thing?
I'm finished.
As far as work to do, I've got a ton, but as far as having filled it out, good.
Okay. How you feeling?
Good.
Okay. Feel like you're getting starting to get a little clarity around some stuff to do?
Yeah.
Okay, good. How about everybody else?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So if you're not finished with that and you want to do the rest of the checklist, then go ahead and do that, on your own time. Or over the next week, we'll talk about the things. I've got a kind of a list of things you need to kind of finish up. but we'll get you mostly there. Because I mean, if you've got a staff, then you can get a lot of, you could probably get a strategy a week. But if you don't, if there's not a lot of people you can delegate a lot of this stuff to, if you can get 2 or 3 things done in a month or 2, I mean, that's a good ask. And some of these will take a whole quarter to get through. And it might be worth it just to bear down and get one of them done and done right in a quarter if that's what you need to do. All right. So if you got your checklist done, then I want you to go over to page 38. And you'll start seeing this is where we get our 90-day goals. So you've got your long-term goals, but you're looking at money mastery, like on page 38, what needs to happen. And then below that, you would put your tactics for those goals. But first of all, get your goals first and then get your tactics. So your strategies or your goals will go in the top line, how important it is, and then your tactics. So you've got money, you've got time, you've got delivery. It matches up with the checklist all the way over to page 43. Is this making sense? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So take about the next 15 minutes or so and let's get shored up. Like, what are the top ones that you want? That you might want. Where we're going with this is we're going to have a whole bunch of things and then we're going to get it down to a few. Okay. So get a whole bunch of them down on paper right now. So you might have 10 or 15 things, and then we're going to get it down to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or so that you want to work on now. Because one of the things y'all wanted was priorities. So that's what we're going to get. Is that cool?
Yes.
All right. Ordinarily, they have music. I found out if you upload a video to YouTube that's got music on it, you can't, I don't have enough followers yet to have, to get money from it, but if you use an artist's music, then they claim it and they can get royalties from it. It's pretty funny. I get every time I do it, I usually play some music, and every time I do it, I get 3 or 4 emails from YouTube saying, nah, you can't, you can't make any money on it. I won't make any money on it anyway, but it's they're just letting me know it's somebody else's copyright. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool technology. So what we're looking for here is sort of like 15 potential things we might want to work on, strategies or goals, and in what areas. So you don't have to have 3 in every area. You can, but you don't have to. Or you can have 6 in money and none in time, or 6 in time and 6 in money and be done.
I did this wrong.
About 5 more minutes to get your goals down. Once again, don't worry about making them perfect. Just get them down. Just get something down there. Couple more minutes. And then I'll tell you what to do next.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah, man.
So I have an issue. My issue is me and my wife have implemented my youngest son's getting ready to go off to the Navy. And so we're implementing a 5-year plan that actually contradicts everything I'm trying to do now.
You and I need to talk. Mine's being shipped out December 15th to the Air Force.
Mine goes to MEPS next week.
Okay. Chris has been there, done that, already put in for his jobs, and he actually has his date to go to training.
So what's the challenge? The personal in matching with the business?
Yes, because the personal goal is within 5 to 7 years to quit doing the work all around, just completely in all reality is to go homestead.
That's fine. I mean, there's no reason you can't do that.
But I do need these things to get me to that point.
Yeah, look, it's a path. You missed the part about where, how to grow the business. So we go for mastery, and it's a lot of it's in here, but there's some other things resources I can give you. We'll chat when we get together. You go for mastery, you get your niche worked out, get your systems in place, you build your team, and then you got something you can sell or quit.
Yeah.
It's the same path either way. They don't have to be mutually exclusive paths.
Yeah. And I heard you say something a minute ago that just about all first-time businesses need to be sold.
No, I said that the goal of most businesses is to eventually, they will be sold. I mean, some of them will go out of business or they'll go, but they will be sold.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have an actual business, that has, marketing in place and customers coming in and salespeople and, that can, then it can be sold. I mean, almost all of them, something can be sold.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had people who've sold their phone number. I mean, they had nothing else but that phone rang all the time. They really didn't have any of this other stuff worked out, but they had their phone rang all the time. It was worth something to a competitor.
Yeah.
To have that phone ring at their place. So you can sell a phone number. You can sell, I mean, I'm telling you, a database of people who is huge. You can sell a database. It's one of the most valuable things in any business. We're your customer database.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm just saying that the path is the same. I mean, I know plenty of people who started a business, made what they wanted to, and shut it down. Okay. They sold the assets. They didn't make what they should have made out of it, but they did all right.
Yeah.
They got what they wanted. That's okay. But it's going to be sold some way, somehow. It might just get shut down, but if it gets shut down, then there's usually stuff to pay off.
Okay.
So that's all I was talking about there, Josh. Does that make sense?
All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, team. So you want to go to page 37 now? And if you're not finished with getting all your goals transferred, then fine. Finish that a little later. That's okay. My goal today is to get you sort of 90% of the way there. And then if we can get, some of you will get 100%. Some of you will need a little more time. And that's okay. So what we want to do next is take the top goals, certainly the high priority goals, and transfer them over here to this top 15. So You may not have 15, you may have 8, you may have 9, you may have 15. But we're going to go from 15 on this page. So I want you, in no particular order, get them down to 15. That's the first step. So 15 or less. The questions about that or comments? If it's a top priority for you, write it down. Don't worry about it right now. Don't fill out all that other stuff. Just write the goal down. Get your top 15 or ish, 10 to 15. Let me know when you got them transferred over there or written down somewhere. You're good? Okay. All right, so moving forward, circle, highlight your top 5 if you've already got your 15. And then once you have your top 5, I want you to get your top 1. Okay, and once you have your top 1, and I want you to go back over to whatever page you had it on or whatever where you were writing, and I want you to start fleshing out the tactics that go with that strategy. So do you have your top 1, Laura? Okay, well, unmute yourself a minute. Let's talk about it. It'll help everybody else. So what's your top 1?
I have to open the store by like November 6th.
Great. So you got to get a store open by November 6th. So there's a bunch of stuff that'll have to be done between now and then. So that's the stuff you want to flesh out in your first goal.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Once you do your first goal, then you'll do the same with your second and your third or your fourth or your fifth, depending on how many.
What page is that on?
Well, once you got your top 1, it'll be written wherever it's written.
Okay, because it says my top 3 goals, so I did that, but.
Yeah, well, whatever your top 1 is, like, let's say it was in, I don't know where you put it. Where did you put it?
What's in right now? It's in the list of 15, but then I didn't see anywhere to do just 1 goal, but I can do that.
Well, like then you go back to like your money mastery goal or wherever you would put it.
Mm-hmm.
And then down below, you'd start just listing out all the things you have to do to get. And then what we want to do, by the way, is put it on a calendar. One of my mentors told me most people suck at planning, but they're pretty good at calendaring. And he's right. You know, like if you have, like there's probably a laundry list of things. Well, what week are you going to do it in?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't have to do it all this week. You know, what week do you need to do this? What week do you need to do that? You begin to put it, once you get your laundry list of tactics, not your strategy is get the store open. Your tactic is going to be like, okay, I've got to get shelving. I've got to arrange once again, in no particular order. And then you can start getting them and ordering them. I like to do, well, Beth's got them on her wall. I like to do Post-it notes because then you can rearrange them. If you get the super sticky ones, and you can rearrange everything once. Post-it notes work better before. That's a calendar. That's all that is on her wall.
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't have dates, but it's a calendar. So you can, if you do like electronics, then you can use the electronic calendar. So the point is, I don't really care where you put it. It's what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a format to help people get it in one place. All right. And then you want to get it on your calendar. So you might only have, that may be the only thing you're really working on. I doubt it, but but you're going to have 2 or 3 things that you want to get accomplished in the next 90 days.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you'll have the tactics, and then you calendar them. Okay. On whatever kind of calendar you use. So I use, you know, Outlook or whatever, you know, you use Google Outlook, my paper calendar. I don't care, whatever kind of calendar you use. Is this all making sense, y'all? Is everybody getting this? Okay. So that's what I want you to do for the next 5 or 7 minutes is get your top 1, 2, or 3, or if you're really ambitious, 4 or 5 things you want to get done in the next 90 days. But the way to do it is start with more and hone it down and say, all right, this is the number 1 thing. This is the number 2 thing. This is the number 3 thing. Which should help you, Ryan, with the priority thing. Red. Red marker. Screenshot.
Here, just put my top. I got top 2. Top 2's in the scheduler.
Awesome. Yeah, there's no right or wrong here. It could be 1, 2, 3, 5, none. I'm always shocked at how fast or how well it usually works when people actually just write down what they want to get done. Just write it down. So, all right, we're going to move on. If you aren't done with that, then you still want to do this process. But at the very last page of the book, there's something that looks like this. Everybody see that? It says Be Epic at the top. It looks a little different than the rest of the book. So it's kind of my attempt to get a 1-page plan together for people. There's a number of these out there, but I find if you can put it in one place. So essentially you fill in the blank. You put your vision, mission, your why, your success criteria. Your sandbox is sort of like where you want to play the game. It could be internationally, it could be Asheville, or it could be Charleston, or wherever you are. It could be a neighborhood. You know, what's your brand promise? What makes you different? Who's your target? What are you offering? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Then you put in some numbers. You put in some of your goals and strategies for there, and then you got your quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4 stuff there. So, and then you got your budgets at the bottom. So, works pretty well. We'll take a few minutes, and for those of you who want, you know, begin to fill that out, and at least get the quarter 1 goals down there, so you get it in one place. And we'll take about 7 or 8 minutes on that, and then we're headed on the home stretch. We'll land this plane.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah, man.
Have you heard about being in the 3-pack of Google?
Yes.
Okay. I followed a group of guys out of California that was called CSA, Contractor Sales Academy.
Yep.
Really good guys, really know how to drive it home. Learned a lot from them. Same as sitting here, learned a lot from this group as well. But I just thought I'd ask you that. I got a whole paper here from last year where I wrote down a bunch of stuff from them.
Good.
You know, USPs and
Yep. What makes it different? Yep. It's really important. Yeah, it's really important to have that. Yeah. I mean, what he's talking about, everybody, I don't know if you know or not, but I mean, if you're not on the top 2 or 3 in Google, you're probably not going to get the call if that's part of your business. So, yeah, I mean, that's part of the deal. So, yeah, there's a lot there, but yeah. All right. How we doing? How's that looking? Who's got questions, comments?
What does my sandbox mean?
It really is like, where are you going to choose to play the game?
Mm.
So if, if you were you want to play locally? Do you want to play in a neighborhood? Do you want to play internationally? Do you want to play in Canada? I mean, wherever, whatever it's usually a geography, but it can be a niche. It could be I choose to only work with, beauty salons.
Right.
That would be a sandbox.
Like a channel or something.
Right. It can be, it's a little bit, you've got a niche, but you can have a niche and a sandbox, I guess. I only want to work with salons in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Would be, the sandbox would be salons in North Carolina, or even just North Carolina, either one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a great question.
Thank you.
Yeah. A lot of that came from guerrilla marketing, and, which is Jake Conrad Levinson,
Mm-hmm.
who's no longer with us, who I met a couple of times. A lot of the marketing stuff came out of that, because he had this back of the napkin thing that was just brilliant. It's right in his book. You can just buy guerrilla marketing and get it, but I've taught it to hundreds of people, and it works pretty well. A couple more minutes on that, and then we'll wrap it up. We're going to land the plane on time. One thing I've learned, been doing these things for a number of years, is that, when I tell people an ending time, I better end it on time. It's the biggest. When I was doing these things live, the biggest beef we always got was usually about temperature in the room, or noise or something, something that really was sort of hard to control. Yeah, but the second beef would be if you win. I made a conscious effort to never go over. I'd rather come back and do more. So, all right. So we're gonna wrap this up. So y'all, let me give you a couple of tips first, and then I'll talk a little bit about what's next. Number one, you want to put aside a little more time for yourself to finish this stuff out. Okay? An hour, 2 hours, whatever it takes, but you want to book it. Okay? That's one tip. Book some time to work on this. Otherwise, you'll get busy, you'll run off and do it. Second, do it soon. Don't wait more than a week. It needs to happen in the next week or so. This weekend would be better. This afternoon would be better. After lunch would be even better. Okay? So just to kind of get it, in things. So here's sort of what you need to do. You need to firm up and finish your goals. If you're not done with your checklist, or you don't have enough goals, finish the checklist. Finish out your strategies, outline the tactics, get it calendared, and then finish up the one-page plan. Okay? None of this is going to take real long, because you guys are 90% of the way there. And also, the last tip is just get it done. Done is better than perfect. This is not surgery. Okay? Done is better than perfect. Any great plan, remember, a good plan violently executed now is better than a great plan. And then start doing something. Even if your plan's not finished, pick one thing and start it in the next 48 hours. Remember, I challenged you to come up with that. So what's next is, some of you, so we want to do, after you've done through that, I want to do a plan debrief with all of you, just to kind of get an outside looking in on what you've come up with, okay? And some of you, that'll be enough, okay? That'll be cool. We'll get you going. You'll go on your strategies. A few of you will want to do some more with me. There's sort of two ways to go. There's sort of the one-to-one route, which we have a one-to-one coaching, And Epic, I can go over what that's about. And then we have something called Profit Club, which is meets a couple of times a month. Then it's a group thing on Zoom. So, you know, and we've got everything from books to, you know, $500,000 programs, and there's everything in between. So depending on what you need, we can talk about that. But we'll talk about that. Now, you'll be getting an email, which for some of you will go into your spam, apparently. And we'll have a link to my calendar on it. I will also attempt to send just one from my other email address. And just book in an hour with me. We'll do a phone call, or if you want to do a Zoom, we'll do a Zoom, and we'll go over your plan. So you want to get that on the calendar in the next, say, week or two. All right? So we can make sure that we get you what you got. Is that cool? That's the second half of the epoxy glue. Right? Is that piece right there. So finish your plan, book me in to talk with you, and then we'll get it. If you don't get the email, I'll send it. I'm gonna wait and see if the other one comes, and then I don't want to bombard you with a bunch of emails. So if you don't get the other one, or if I don't see anything booked by about Monday, I'll send you another email, okay, with my calendar link on it. All right, so I want you to go back right now and make some notes of your top 3 learnings, BFOs, whatever. Real quick, what are those? We'll take 2 minutes on that, and then we're going to wrap it up. Actually, we're going to do 1 minute. You probably already know what your top 3, either learnings, BFOs, or whatever. I'm going to pull the chair back over. Got a pretty good system these days. Probably need a little more technology. All right, everybody got something? Got a few learnings, BFOs, everybody got some good ones? All right, so we're gonna wrap it up with what we call a WIFL. It stands for what I feel like expressing. It's actually a team exercise, which I can teach you. It works for a lot of reasons. The way it works is you say what I feel like expressing is. Then you say whatever you feel like expressing. And then you say, and that's what I feel like expressing. And we all say, thanks, Beth, because Beth's going to go first because she knows how to do it. So she can show you how to do it. I'll just say, what do you feel like expressing, Beth? And she will show you how to do it. You're on mute, by the way, Beth. And you'll see how it works. And you just say whatever's on your mind, and we'll finish up with me, and we'll be done. Now, you can say one of your top learnings. You can say whatever's on your mind. You can say the number 1 value I got out of today is whatever you want to say. You know, you can. It doesn't matter. It's your time to speak. No one else speaks during it. Everybody understand the rules? Cool. All right, so we'll teach you how to do a WIFL. Beth, what do you feel like expressing?
What I feel like expressing is today I feel like I got a refresh or reset on some of the things that I had goals. I pulled my prior planning and reviewed it to see what had I accomplished, what hadn't I accomplished, and then added some new ones. So I feel like this was a good session. It's helping me to keep from moving forward. And just like I said, some of it was a refresher for me, but anytime you can get a refresher, go, oh yeah, I haven't been doing that. I think that's a good thing as well. You know I get caught up with working in the business or in the business, not on the business, especially towards a tax deadline. So again, that sort of refreshed me to say, stop, pause, work on the business. And I've already put some things in my schedule coming up to work on the business and try to work on some of this stuff that I did today. So that's what I feel like expressing. And thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Beth. Josh, what do you feel like expressing?
I'll kind of be funny, so I can't wait to go deer hunting in the morning, but no.
All right.
That's That's a good one.
No, I same thing as Beth. Just a good refresher. Like I said, you know, I had a meeting about a year ago over kind of the same thing, and it was a lot of it I had already wrote down. And it was a good refresher to say, hey, look, you need to take time out of doing the work and put it into the business, or we won't be where Ron's at. So that's what I feel like expressing.
Thanks, Josh. How about you, George? What do you feel like expressing?
Well, basically, today was kind of, kicking the butt, doing things that you knew you needed to do, just haven't gotten around to doing. That's what I got out of today.
Thanks, George. How about you, Ron? What do you feel like expressing?
What I feel like expressing is that I enjoy meeting all you guys. I normally don't do long-term planning or writing it down. It's all in my head. But I've got certain action steps. I know what I got to get done, and I can jumble 4 or 5 tasks at one time. So it's good to learn that it's better to put it in paper so you can go back and refresh yourself and see how much you did get done and what you failed on.
And that's what you feel like expressing?
That's what I feel like expressing.
Yeah. Thanks, Ron. That's how you know we're
Yeah,
we got it. Thanks, Ron. Laura, what do you feel like expressing?
What I feel like expressing is gratitude, Bill. I love organizing my mind, and I find that the worksheets that you created are a really great way to do that. I don't typically love accountability, but at this particular moment, because I feel like I have it and I don't really need somebody to tell me what to do. But at this point, I feel like I'm restarting certain things. So it's been great to sort of see that I knew all the things I wanted to get done, but I could hierarchize them in a way that made it feel more like I was in control. So I'm grateful for all of you, and that's what I feel like expressing.
Thanks, Laura. How about you, Destiny? What do you feel like expressing?
Well, what I feel like expressing is also gratitude. That's exactly what was on my mind and thoughts. So thank you, Bill, for your time, and for everyone here that took time out. I feel like have some clarity, and again, things that I knew I needed to do but haven't written down. And so just having that clarity and again, the accountability. So I'm grateful for you in this time. That's what I feel like expressing.
Thanks, Destiny. What about you, Ryan? What do you feel like expressing?
Well, what I feel like expressing is like, this was really, like, I just feel like I've been in a blizzard. Like, there's so much going on, and I haven't really taken the opportunity to focus on something. And this has really helped to kind of find some things to grab onto. And I really appreciate that. So now I've got I've got some things that I'm gonna to grasp onto and hopefully make some progress for things that I should have been happening for a long time. I should be doing, but I just haven't. It's just been, so everything's kind of so overwhelming. So it's really been helpful, one, to kind of see all of these suggestions kind of written down, and these prompts, and then it's helped me to recognize some things that, those really speak to me. I really need to latch on to those and jot those down and make them move forward. So that's what I feel like expressing.
Thanks, Ron. Yeah. So have we got everybody? We did get everybody, I think. Yeah. So what I feel like expressing is, listen, I appreciate you guys showing up and putting in the work. I mean, I love doing this when I got people who are serious about and committed to their businesses. And you wouldn't be here if you weren't committed to their businesses. There was a whole bunch of people who chose not to be here. And so I think you should be commended for taking time out. The reason these things work is because you do just stop, take time out of your business and work on things. And so I'm looking forward to talking to all of you a little bit deeper about your businesses and making sure you're on the right track, getting you to where you need to go. I'm excited about the opportunities that I do believe that this is an opportunistic time in our history, in our economy. And so I think there are plenty of opportunities out there. So I'm looking forward to it. And that's what I feel like expressing. So thanks to everybody. So if you're doing this with the team, then there's another piece called burnings, and it works the same way. So is there any other burnings? Has anybody got a burning? Something they got to tell us. Cool. All right. Well, there's one more ritual. The way we end is a little bit, we got a lot of things to let go of and a lot of things. So you want to stand up to lock in. It's actually apparently a Tai Chi move that means, you know, lock in what you need to lock in and let go of those things that you need to let go. So we do it fast. You put your left arm out, you put your right hand back, and you kick your right foot through, and you go 1, 2, 3, whoosh, like that. So, so we'll do it all together. You can do it in your chair if you want, Josh. You just put your right hand back. You got to kick, can't kick both feet. So left hand out, right hand back, 1, 2, 3, whoosh. I hope all of you guys have a fantastic weekend, and we will talk to you at some point in the next week or so. So
Thank you, Bill.
yeah, y'all have a great day. I loved your enthusiasm and that fact that you played full out. So well done.
You do the same. Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a great week.
Good luck, everyone.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.